So at any time you go for an interview, it's so important for you to always be prepared for any kind of question they could ask you, particularly the one right at the end that says, do you have any questions for us? Interviewers always ask this question, and it's really an opportunity to give you a chance to ask us questions that are relevant to the role that you've applied to. So stay tuned for the rest of this video where I'm going to go through some examples of what you can ask a recruiter at the end of your next interview so that you are seen as someone that is relevant, that is well prepared, and someone that is interested in the role that they're applying for. Hey everyone, my name is Paile. I'm a young talent specialist and really using this platform to ensure that you have all the tips and tricks to get you corporate ready. In this video, like I said, we're going to be spending some time going through some key and relevant questions that you can prepare for your next interview. Interviewers always love asking the question, do you have any questions for us? And typically we'll ask it when we know we've got a little bit of time at the end of your interview to engage with you and give you the opportunity to ask us some questions. And so this is always an opportunity for you to then ask 2 or 3 genuine questions that you've come up with as you've started preparing for that particular interview that you can ask the interviewer. In this video, I'm going to go through 3 different categories that you can start thinking about in terms of asking certain questions so the interviewer can always see that you are prepared and you're asking relevant questions for the role you've applied for. So the first category that I want to speak about is asking questions about the company. So this is typically something that you can do when you've done research about the company and you've maybe come across something in an article or something on their website that is not as clear to you as you'd like it to be. This is an opportunity to jot it down and actually ask the question. But remember, it always needs to be a genuine question that's actually going to add value to your knowledge of what you need to know in order to make a decision as to whether this is where you want to work or not. So from a company perspective, I think there are 2 different angles that you can always ask questions to get a better sense of what the company's about. So for the first category, where you're asking more about the company, there are 2 different ways in which you can prepare to ask this question. So your one question can be purely based on the research that you've done about the company in preparation for your interview, where you've kind of come across something that's interesting to you, an article or something that's come out in the papers about the company that really intrigues you. Now's an opportunity to ask a question around this. Whatever it is that you've kind of read about, that you're not too clear about, or you want to get further information about how this came about and how this impacted the company, this is an opportunity to ask a research-based question. The second one that I think is important to ask is something about the culture, right? So it's very important for you to always try and align yourself to the culture of the company by asking questions of people that actually work there around how they're experiencing the company. What made you choose to come and work here? What are you enjoying most about your role? Those are some of the questions that you could ask around culture specific that are going to give you intel into what is it actually like to work in this particular company? What are people that work here say about the company? What are they loving about the company? What are they loving about their jobs? So that is the second type of question that you can ask in relation to the company. The importance of asking this is really because you ultimately also still need to make a decision off the back of the interview, whether this is the kind of place that you want to work for. It may sound like a great place. It may be a place that has a great reputation and people speak well of it. But an interview is really an opportunity for you to get a better sense from people that actually work there, what it's like to work at that particular company. The second category that's important for you to be asking about is about the role itself, right? So a lot of times when you apply for a role, all you have is the job spec, and that's what you use to prepare for the role. There's certain elements of the job spec that spoke to you, and that's why you were interested in applying for it, but maybe there are other elements about the company where the role is actually advertised from that make you want to actually apply for that role. But at the end of your interview, if you've been given an opportunity to ask questions and there are certain elements of the role that they still have not clarified for you and that still haven't answered through the course of the interview, here are 2 or 3 examples that you could ask in relation to the role. It's important for you to understand where the role fits into the whole team structure, who are you actually reporting into, and what is a week or a day in this role actually look like? What are the key things that need to be worked on? What are the key challenges in this particular role? So that as you move away from the interview, you have a better sense as to the challenges that are in this role, are these things that I actually want to be delving into? Is this something that's aligned to the type of career that I want to be able to build? Does the team structure work for me? Do I see growth potential with regards to this particular role? These are all important questions for you to have answers for, so that once again, as you step away from that interview, you know whether this role is aligned to what it is you want to do and the direction of your career. So the final category is really about, what does success look like in this particular role? This is where you really have a deep dive into the person that's supposed to take on this role. What does success look like? What kind of person do you need? What are the key personality traits that are required to make the person in this role successful? That's where you're really going to get a better sense into the type of person and the type of behaviors and characteristics that you are going to need in order to be successful in this role. You'll find a lot of times that the characteristics and traits that you are going to need really have to do with the environment that you're going to be operating in and what it is they expect of this person, knowing the environment, knowing your key stakeholders, knowing some of the key external relationships that you're going to need to have and what those people are like and what the personalities are like. And that's what's going to inform the type of person that needs to be in this kind of role. So this is where it really takes a deep dive into that. And once again, it's important to know this because the personality traits that are required for someone to be successful in this role, you need to be able to look back into your personality. What are your strengths? What are your key development areas? And that's what's going to inform whether you can be successful in this kind of role and whether you're up for that kind of challenge, right? And so by them answering this question will also give you a better sense as to some of the key strengths and development areas that you've mentioned in the course of your interview. How does this tie back to what they are saying the role actually needs? And one thing you must always be mindful of is, as they are answering the questions, think back as to what you said about yourself, about why you love the company, about why you want the role, around why you think you're the best person for the role, and compare to what it is they are telling you about the role, about the key personality traits that are going to make someone successful in this particular role. And as they answer these questions, understand for yourself, where can I better clarify myself based on what I said and in relation to what they are saying they require, right? So that at the end of all of these questions, you can then finalize it by thanking them for answering the questions. And if there's anything that you want to further clarify for them about you and why you should be successful in this role, this is your one opportunity to go back and say, thank you so much for clarifying this about the company or this particular personality trait that makes the person in this role successful. I really think that that is a key personality trait that I particularly have, and it's demonstrated through the fact that I've done this and this and this in my current role or at university. This is definitely a skill that I've spent a lot of time honing in on. So I definitely think this is a challenge that I'm up for, and this is something that I could be able to go into and really make great strides in this particular role. Right? So you need to be able to end it off in that way. So don't just ask questions for the sake of asking. Whatever they come back with, if there's anything that you want to clarify, now is your opportunity. Once again, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to yet another episode of Get Corporate Ready. I really hope that this has been helpful for you. If you've liked and enjoyed this video, please make sure to give me a thumbs up, click subscribe. Make sure that you're commenting below on what your key takeaway is and any other questions that you may have in relation to this particular topic, and I'm always happy to help.